Alright, back to do another video, UFC 91. Despite my hair's best efforts to look like crap, I'm going to do it anyways. This will be a little bit shorter breakdown on the fights because I want to have time for a little bit of a rant at the end. Okay, first up we have Matt Brown, Ryan Thomas. Neither man is really terribly adept at defending submissions, although that is their really only weakness. Both are reasonably good wrestlers, reasonably good strikers, and reasonably good offensive grapplers, but they can't seem to stop submissions. I'm going to give it to Matt Brown, a slight edge with the second round tap out, just because Ryan Thomas did not overly impress me against Ben Saunders. Next up, George Gurgel versus Aaron Riley. George Gurgel should win this fight, by all means, over Aaron Riley, but knowing him, he probably won't, because he'll probably come up with a stupid game plan. Nonetheless, I'm going to gamble on the Gurgel by unanimous decision. Dustin Hazlett, Tamdan McCrory. Bad matchup for Tamdan McCrory. He's used to having a huge reach advantage over everyone he fights. He's not going to have that against Dustin Hazlett. Hazlett is a better striker and a better grappler. McCrory is stronger and probably a better wrestler, and that will allow him to dictate where this fight takes place. But the problem is I think he loses everywhere this fight goes. I'm going with Hazlett via tap out in the third round, probably of some kind of flying variety like the one he threw on Josh Berkman. Next up, we have Mark Boschek, Elvin Robinson. I don't like this fight because I like both these guys, and one's going to get a loss. I'm going to go with Elvin Robinson, better striker, better wrestler, by unanimous decision. Boschek is a slightly better grappler in the ADCC Abu Dhabi sense, but not so much in the MMA sense. Next, we have Rafael Dos Anjos versus Jeremy Stephens. Dos Anjos is a promising prospect for the UFC, but so is Jeremy Stephens, of course. I think Stephens is the better striker, better wrestler, and I think he should probably take this fight. Dos Anjos is a pretty tough guy, though. I'm going to say it is going to be by decision. Next, we have Gabriel Paul Gonzaga versus Josh Hendricks. Paul should completely wreck Josh Hendricks, much like he should wreck a lot of people. I'm going to go that he does tap him in the first round because I'm hoping we finally see the Nepal fight to his potential. Josh Hendricks could use the Randy Couture strategy and the Fabricio Verdum strategy, which is normally if you put the pace on Gonzaga and you basically break him mentally, and he could try to do that, but I don't think he has the skills. Demian Maia, Nate Corey. Corey's going to obviously try and sprawl and brawl this one. Maia's going to be trying to take him down because Maia's stand-up is pretty limited. I'm going to give Maia the win by a tap-out in the second round just because I look at this fight. Corey, although he's not really been put on his back on any great number of occasions, no one's really tried to. And Maia does have a very nice double-leg takedown. I just don't see this standing up for long enough. And Corey... Maia's got a decent chin. Corey's got heavy hands, but like it or not, he's got slow hands, not terribly technical hands. So I'm going to go with Maia. Next, we have Kenny Florian, Joe Stevenson. Kenny's problem for most of his career is that his takedown defense is somewhat limited, and if a guy's a good grappler and gets on top of him, he should be able to win. And Joe Daddy fits the bill. Now, of course, people are going to bring up, well, Roger Huertas is like, supposed to be a stud wrestler. A, Roger Huerta I don't really think is that much of a stud wrestler. B, he didn't fight like a wrestler, and that fight becomes somewhat of an anomaly, but you look at the other fights he's had with wrestlers, Sean Shirk, for example, although Sean Shirk is a better wrestler than Joe Daddy and a better defensive grappler, I think, than Joe Daddy, I still think Joe Stevenson has what it takes. I think he loses most of the stand-up portion of this fight. If he comes in shape, he should win, though, and he has in the past lacked on conditioning, and hopefully he doesn't this time for my sake. Next, we have Brock Lesnar and Randy Couture. We start off by saying these are two of the most hyped-up fighters that don't deserve it. And I know I'm going to get flack for saying that about Randy, but Randy Couture, people have him ranked in the top 4 in the world at heavyweight. Some people have him at number 1, and I have to ask, what has he done to deserve the ranking? He has beaten Tim Sylvia, who a lot of the same people love to bash the living crap out of, and Gonzaga. Now, the Gonzaga win, he kind of showed Gonzaga's weakness, and 2, Gonzaga tried to fight him like a striker, which was the wrong thing to do. The way to beat Randy Couture has always been to put him on his back. Rico Rodriguez did it, Josh Barnett did it with ease. Of course, Chuck Liddell knocked him out, okay, but that's another way. But the key to beating Randy is not necessarily to try to keep the fight standing, because if you're not Chuck Liddell, he is taking you down. Vitor Belfort tried it repetitively, but Randy would just keep taking him down. Randy Couture's weakness is, like I said, off his back. He's fighting Brock Lesnar, who's a bigger, younger, stronger wrestler. Needless to say, if Barnett and Rico Rodriguez can take you down somewhat at will, I think Brock Lesnar can do the same. Randy is not that good off the bottom. I'm sure he's drilling it like hell to be ready for this fight, because the best way to beat Lesnar remains a submission from the bottom. But I gotta give it to Brock Lesnar. TKO in the 4th round. That being said, this fight is utter bullshit. You have your the heavyweight title of the UFC is so devalued at this point that it's split between, of course, Randy Couture and Nogueira. Nogueira has lost to Fedor Emelianenko on 2 occasions. The UFC doesn't like to admit the fact that Fedor is the best heavyweight in the world, yet your heavyweight champion has lost to him twice. Randy Couture comes out of retirement, beats Tim Sylvia, gets the title. Like I said, not really right. Beats Gonzaga, and he's all of a sudden top 4 in the world, and I don't really get that. This is purely a marketing machine fight, which I know it'll make a lot of money, and people will order this pay-per-view just for this fight, because honestly, the undercards. Stevenson Florian is a compelling fight with title applications. There's a couple other fights that could be good here. Dos Anjos and Stevens, Robinson and Boschek, although not Robinson and Boschek will probably be a ground fight, which of course most of the UFC fans don't like. So, go figure, Dustin Hazlett may come up with some sick-ass submission against McCrory. But this is not a good card. This is one of the weakest cards that they've put together in a while. I mean, it's got this the biggest fight in UFC history, which basically my point is that's bull. Brock Lesnar has beaten one can and Heath Herring, a past prime Heath Herring, and lost to Frank Mir, who has no cardio and no real stand-up, and got out-wrestled, but submitted him. Basically, I think the point I'm trying to make here is, why does Brock get a title shot? People are going to say, why not? And after Fabrizio Verdun lost, I mean, I've kind of lost my leg to stand on there, but nonetheless, Verdun should have been having this title fight, or it should have been Randy Couture, Nogueira, unite the titles, and then the winner gets Frank Mir. That should be how it goes, really, in all honesty. What else did I have to say on this? Okay, I'm going to segue into a Dana White rant a little bit here, and that is Dana White's recent comments about Elite XC are, basically just showing his two-faced, hypocritical bullshit side. Promoting Kimbo Slice as illegitimate heavyweight was wrong. It was a gamble. It was bullshit, because Kimbo wasn't. But giving Brock Lesnar a title shot, is that any better? Is that really any better? The UFC has for years, well, basically forever, claimed that they have the best fighters in the sport, and while they always have had, more or less, outside maybe during the Pride days, the highest quantity of top 10, top 15, top 20 fighters in each of the 5 weight classes. Lately they have shown that, and at all times I think, but lately particularly they have shown that ranking doesn't mean anything to them. Brock Lesnar fighting Randy Couture for the title is a key instinct of that. They're pulling it also with BJ Penn versus GSP, which puts 2 titles on hold, which is stupid in my opinion, but that is a good fight. I am looking forward to GSP versus BJ Penn. Nonetheless, I still think GSP needs to clean up his division. BJ Penn needs to clean up his division before they go with that fight. That's just me. Recently, the UFC signed Dennis Kang, which is cool, but that's another thing they've gone back on, is because Dennis Kang, when he was good, they didn't want him. They said he was not UFC material. Now all of a sudden Dennis Kang is starting to decline a little bit in skill. He has not looked all that good in his most recent fights. I still think he can be a good fighter. I just think he's in a bit of a slump. But all of a sudden, we have a former Pride guy who's starting to fall from glory, and now we want to sign him so that we can get him beat up and we can make Pride look bad. That's my 2 cents on that. Anyways, I will see you whenever I do a video next. I don't know. I'm very busy lately, so later.